Randini, the magician. No, don't put the phone down. You paid for this call, you might as well use it. If you'd like to leave your name, phone number, and the best time to call you after the tone, I will be pleased to get back to you as soon as I possibly can. Thank you for calling, David Randini, the magician.
Right, don't look at me. Look at this. Now, this was discovered by a man called Aristotle. He watched a waterfall, and when he looked away, he noticed something moving. I'm going to count from 10 to 0. When I get to 0, follow my instructions. 10, 9, keep looking, don't look away. 8, 7, 6, watch the whole thing, not just the middle. 5, 4, 3, like a tunnel you're being drawn inwards. 2, 1, 0. Look at my head, keep looking, keep looking, keep looking. Clap if you saw it. This is me watching my first magic show, and you probably have to guess which one is me, but I'm actually the baby. This is my dad, the great Randini, my brother, my sister, and me. I was born the youngest of 3 children, and I still am. This is my mum. Sadly, they cut the head off of my mum, so you can't see a picture of her. They all helped my dad doing magic as they got older, but I was the one who, I don't know, had that extra spark, call it what you like. I had the ability to make people laugh as well as do the magic. The first trick I ever learned, I'm not sure. I used to do a lot of tricks when I was a boy, just puzzles and tricks. The first trick I ever performed in public was what I call a paper hat trick. Now, a soldier of fortune once showed me this caper of making kid soldiers' hats out of newspaper. He then took the paper, unfolding and wishing. He then made a hat to be worn while out fishing. He then took it back and folded it down, saying, now you're Napoleon, or maybe a clown. He said, turn it sideways and then you can be Sherlock Holmes the detective, or a captain at sea. He took it once more, and then he made a hat for the boys of the old brigade. He then took it and said, that isn't all. Here's another clown's hat. Perhaps it's too small. While I pulled on the sides, he said, please do not tear out. We're in luck. Here's an Almancho sombrero. He then took it back and folded it flat, and I thought to myself, perhaps that's that. He said, I expect you wonder if there's any more. I could see that there wasn't as he stood there and talked. I'll sweep up later. As he went for the centre, he said, you're my friend. I'm sorry to tell you that this is the end. Yes, he told me this story, and this is what hurt. The paper hat making had lost his shirt. One of the funniest incidences of fame on the Isle of Wight, and I guess it's the same for people who perhaps try and make it in America, but they're known in England. Or I was doing an event called the Old Gaffers Festival, and Alan Titchmarsh was opening it. And of course he was on Ground Force at that time, quite a well-known programme. And all the little old ladies were there getting their autographs, queuing up. And this woman came up to me and said, excuse me, my little boy, he doesn't know him. Can he have your autograph? So of course, I signed an autograph, and before I know it, I look up and there's a queue of children. And my queue is longer than his queue. Now I know who he is, but he's got no idea who I am. And there he is signing his autographs like this going, wondering who I am. So it's funny how fame is relative to who you are. When I was a little boy, my parents took me to Petticoat Lane, and I used to watch them doing the 3-car trip, but there were 2 things I didn't understand. One was they'd pack up and run off. I never understood that. And well, I do now, obviously, because I'm grown up. And the other was that people would bet and lose. And I knew they were going to lose. And I was only a little boy. I said, can you teach me? They said, well, you're a little boy. We'll teach you a simple version. Still has 3 cards. The first card is this card. this card. And the second card is also this card, but the third card is that card. And it's that card, he said, you've got to keep your eye on. Well, I saw what he did, you see, he moved it to the bottom. I said, it's on the bottom. He said, no, that's this card. I said, it must be on the top. He said, no, that's this card as well. I said, well, it must be in the middle. He said, no, that's this card. I said, hang on a minute, you've got 3 this cards. And he said, no, that card's on the bottom. He said, it's also on the top. And it's also, well, in the middle. I said, well, you've got 3 that cards. He said, no, I've only got this card, and this card. I said, well, explain it. He said, we have this card, and you have that card. I said, well, what about that one? He said, well, that's the other card. Makes sense, really. Right, there we are. I have a strong belief that magicians should not be a clever dick. You know, no one likes a smart aleck coming up to their table at a restaurant and showing them how clever they are. They want to be wowed, they want to have good magic, but they don't want someone to show what a clever person they are. So for me, entertaining is the best. I'm only old on the outside, you know. Only joking.